a little under the weather still, but just doing a few things this morning, and then headed back home, and just what really wanted to hop on, and because we have some momentum around this, and it feels important, and I know I sure could use a little touchstone as well myself today. So what we're going to talk about today as we continue on with our Lenten readings is the idea of blindness here. And of course, not a surprise that blindness shows up as part of our Lenten readings, because it's such a metaphor, right, for the human condition, and how we are all oftentimes blind to things in our life, and sometimes willfully blind to things, and sometimes it's just life circumstances. And it's an interesting story. Many of you know it, where Jesus does heal a blind man. It heals blind people all the time. I shouldn't say, just one story. There's many stories of this. And this one's interesting because when we're going to read, we're just going to read a couple lines from it. And it's where Jesus draws a distinction between two types of blindness. So that's what we're going to look at right now. This is from John 9. So this man has been healed of his blindness, and this is what he says when he's confronted by the clergy of that time. I do not know whether Jesus is a sinner or not. They'd accuse Jesus of being a sinner. Of course, all sinners are like healing people for blindness, right? That's so silly, right? I only know that this much. I once was blind and now I see, which again, you probably remember that from Amazing Grace. So that's his thing. It's like, look, I don't know much about this guy. All I know is that I couldn't see, and then I could, and that's a beautiful one. And then the second line is Jesus, few sentences later, said, well, actually, he's being confronted. He said, well, I actually did come into the world to divide it, to make the sightless see, and to reveal to those who think they see it all that they are blind. And there he's talking about the religious experts at that time, to just be like, yeah, dudes, you're totally missing the picture. So, folks, that is so much the choice, right? We're confronted with blindness. We're confronted with blindness of ourselves, blindness with other people, blindness of just, I guess the word, and it doesn't quite fit grammatically, but the word life circumstances. Like, we can just be blinded to things. It's just how it works. And with life, we have to constantly make these decisions, given that there always is a fair amount of blindness around, which is the decision to be bitter or the decision to be better. And that was today's title, Bitter or Better. So much of life, again, when we're presented with the different challenges, and the this call to learn to see and to see better, is it's so easy to choose that bitterness. And last night we had a great small group, and obviously we never talk about specifics in small groups in any public format, but I sometimes I do share sort of generalities. And one of the generalities that came up last night that was fascinating was how much that our life circumstances can lead to that bitterness and can lead to that hardness. And that in and of itself becomes even more blindness. Like, we can be blinded by our bitterness, and we can be blinded by our hardening. What is that known as? It's known as cynicism. And yeah, be careful hanging out with Jesus, or as one author put it, lest the cynic in you die. And that bitter strand, right, that can lead to its own blindness. But when we choose instead to think, yeah, how do we make the world a better place? And it's a big question, right? It is a big question. That may sound like, how do we make the world a better place? Cue the Coca-Cola commercial. But it's much bigger than that, right? Because it's a deliberate decision away from bitterness, away from all the things connected with that, and away from the hardening, in a decision to try to see. And when we really try to see, we will see ways that open for us to make the world better. Oftentimes they're very small ways. Oftentimes they may appear insignificant. Oftentimes they may appear like, in the big scheme of things, they don't necessarily, quote unquote, matter. But I'm here to tell you, as a pastor, they certainly do. And all of you today, like, let's all just be clear about that decision that we have. Just it's a simple decision we have today. Are we going to choose a blindness that comes out of bitterness, comes out of hardening, or are we going to choose to, just as best we can, and with very worn out tools, as humbly as possible, as imperfectly as all human endeavors are, just try to find this little small place where we can make the world better? I think that's the key, right? I think that's exactly what God asks of us. So that's the thought for today, folks. And yeah, and hopefully we'll be totally, turn the corner tomorrow and back to the norm. So thank you so much for joining me this morning. And I really did appreciate all the very kind notes yesterday. It was very sweet to know that to know that there are people out there who are checking in on you. So I really did appreciate that a great deal. So with that, friends, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do our little meditation here. After the meditation, we're going to do a little prayer. After the prayer, we're going to do a little blessing, and then we'll say hi on social media. So with that, friends, let's get a little breath here. Be still and know that I am God. Be still and know that I am. Be still and know that I. Be still and know that. Be still and know. Be still and. Be still. Be. Our Father, who art in the heavens, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, as in heaven, so upon the earth. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we also forgive our debtors. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Amen. May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord make his face to shine upon you and be gracious unto you. May the Lord lift up his countenance upon you, bring you peace, and bring you home. Amen. All right, dear friends. Little cheery hello to folks who are joining us this morning. And again, I hope you're all doing well. And I hope sometime again, I'm a big plugger of our small groups. I mean, these things are really, really something else. We have a final Easter one coming up next week that you're more than welcome to join, even if you haven't been to the other ones. All right. Okay. Patricia writes, heart there. Thank you, Patricia. Chair writes, good morning. Glad to see you upright and hope you're feeling better. Sure am. And Marcus writes, good morning as well. So again, folks, wishing you all the very best. Hope you have a great day. God bless. Take care. Bye-bye.